My first commission, well, I mean, I started out in theatre, so I used to enter every competition in the book, and so I entered several competitions, and as a result, I wrote some scripts from that, and so I got my first theatre commission through the Nuffield Theatre, actually. I'd written a play that didn't really have a home, and they did it for me, and that was fantastic. And from that script got me lots of other work. And then my first television commission I got through the Carlton screenwriting course, which was basically 2 weekends, I think, in October and January. And between them, those 2 weekends, you had to write a screenplay. And I loved the form. Suddenly I didn't have to write long monologue in the way that I had to for theatre, and I could write sort of for the visual with lean dialogue, which is what I inherently like. And so after that, I got my first £500 commission from Jane Tranter at the BBC. Well, I think theatre, the writer is absolutely the author and central to the process, and you don't change a word without asking the writer. Television, it's a writer's medium. You're absolutely at the heart of the making of it, and as time goes on, you become exec produce your own work, so you can really be involved in the overall shaping and casting choice of how that piece is made. And then film is really a director's medium, and you're serving the director, and directors tend to come much earlier, whereas directors in TV come on much later. So for me, there is a very practical difference between those things. But also what I love about, say, television is that it's quite a political art form. I think you can tell stories in an episodic way, or bigger stories in some ways, with a kind of small political P, in a way that you can't in film, which is about business and about audience often. If I want to try and make the past feel real, I do a lot of research, I read a lot, I look at a lot. I love the fact those shows that have suddenly coloured the past are fascinating to me. But I kind of believe in kind of universal human truth, and I think they are probably no different. It's just the world we live in that's different. So I try and keep the sort of central emotional heartbeat the same as if I was writing a contemporary piece, but under the strains of facing the First World War, or not being able to have sex before marriage, or being brought up in the 80s in Brick Lane as a Bangladeshi woman. I try and sort of impose those things, but I inherently still write as if I was writing a contemporary piece. Well, one of the challenges is writing for a real person is accepting that you're going to inherently fictionalise somebody, particularly someone you don't get to meet, but also it's often the vastness of their lives. I think often those biopics where you have just taken a week in someone's life or a significant event can be really successful, whereas actually one of the hardest things was when you look at someone like Margaret Thatcher and the breadth of her career and the breadth of her life, it was really finding the most interesting story and the way to distill the most poignant points of her life. Don't give up. Do it, don't talk it. If you talk too much about your ideas, you don't have the energy, and it takes the energy away from the writing. If you talk about it and get the it's kind of delayed gratification, I think, if you hold on to your idea and then write it and then show people. And don't, take the knocks. Don't be arrogant with the knocks. Take the knocks and see them as all part of the process to find your voice and define what's important to you, and find the right people you want to work with, and decide who the people you should listen to and who the people you shouldn't. Listen to your discerning voice. They would be Tootsie, because it's my favourite film ever. They would be Taxi Driver, because I think it's just a brilliant, brilliant film. And they would be Monsoon Wedding, which is just beautiful and glorious and sort of sad and uplifting at the same time.